I grew up watching Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth. I liked Leonardo DiCaprio's Climate documentary. I wanted my mom to watch it. I was like, you got to check this stuff out. And then I supported Bernie Sanders in 2016. I didn't understand taxes, healthcare. And then once I kind of saw one lie and another, I started questioning, okay, like clearly the ocean is being filled with plastic. That's real. The skies are polluted. I suggest everybody uses a water filter, even if you have a filter. Just there are environmental problems. But I started to look into it and I started seeing volcanoes under the Arctic ice. I started seeing NASA's data themselves and them saying, we don't even measure the whole continent. We only measure the coastlines. It's melting in some regions, it's growing. I took a trip to Alaska. They taught me how certain things melt for 100 years and they grow for 100 years. So the more I started looking, the more ridiculous nonsense I started realizing that maybe this is a distraction from keeping San Francisco and Los Angeles from cleaning the streets, cleaning the skies, cleaning the water, and just getting people to act hysterically. And the craziest part, even if you believe it is true, is two things. They actually have carbon machines now that could take carbon out of the air and do what they claim they want to do. There's trees that do that. And also India and China are two of the biggest polluters. So why is it always focused on the United States, who constantly improves as these countries are running away with, 9 out of 10, I believe, polluted rivers are in Africa and Asia. So nothing, even if you think what they're saying makes sense, how they're acting makes absolutely no sense.
Right, their solution doesn't match what they tell us the problem is. So this is really interesting to hear you say that there's some lies that are told, and then there's some information that we simply don't have, that the climate change criers pretend that we have. When you were going through this transformation, when first you were a fan of Al Gore and Bernie Sanders, and then you became not a fan, what would you say was the piece of information or the particular lie that was, not to use a bad pun, but the tipping point for you?
Yeah, it's hard to say the first one when it comes to climate. I would say with President Trump, I didn't like him through the election. I didn't vote for him, but I saw his full context speech, not just out of context clips, and I started listening. And then as an adult, I really learned how taxes work and how healthcare works and how the Democrats, although they claim to help people like me, they actually force me into their health plan and give me a penalty. It's like literally like, buy this or we'll penalize you. Where Trump said the opposite, you don't have to buy it. And me personally, I don't want to spend that money, but they make me. And then I just kind of shifted from there. I'm like, well, if they're lying about that, if they're lying about that, I've always known the media was lying. I've never been a super into politics. I always thought both parties were corrupt. But I just kind of looked at a lot of, even MIT today tweeted about geoengineering, where, a decade ago they said it was a conspiracy theory. Now you have MIT, a very, well-known and profound school saying that. And then just little things where I'm like, okay, volcanoes, the ocean is mostly unexplored. I just kind of put it together one by one. So I'm like, if this is happening, how do we solve it? Is it happening? Are you allowed to question? They say they know everything, but most of the ocean's unexplored, and NASA themselves admits that they only measure the coastlines. Their satellites don't measure the snowfall. So who says the science is settled? I mean, the science on a planet that is mostly unexplored, it can't possibly be settled, and that's fine, but they're not looking to find a solution. They're not looking to settle certain science. They're looking to call everybody who disagrees with whatever they say a denier, and it's just simply not true.